That'd be enough, won't it? Wouldn't you say?
It'll work till it won't.
Don't say that, Todd. Say, yeah, that's plenty.
That's plenty, Brian.
Work it around like that. Don't force it in there because you'll rip your O-ring. You know what happens when you rip your O-ring?
You have kids.
No. You better be on a toilet when you rip your O-ring.
Oh, that ring.
Yeah, that ring. Never a dull moment, guys. Welcome back to Fab Remove Detailing. You guys, this is not a detailing video at all. A lot of you guys know I am a full-time mechanic Monday through Friday, and only on the weekends do I detail. Today, we're gonna do a video on mechanical stuff. I bought a 2008 Jeep Commander for my wife, relatively cheap, actually really cheap, for what it is and the condition that it's in, knowing that it may need engine work. And I've been working on it, and I got to the point where I know that it has dropped a valve. I'm not sure if the valve seat fell out of the head or not. And it's 9.5 hours to remove that head, or it's like 10 hours to remove the engine. And I've done these engines before, and we're just gonna go ahead and remove the engine. Now I've already got to the point where it's ready to come out, and I wasn't gonna make a video. And then I said, you know what? Last time when I did the Jeep, everybody said, hey, why didn't you film doing some of the engine work? So that's why we're gonna do that right now. And then of course, we're gonna have a whole detailing video, or maybe even a series on getting this thing in really, really good shape. So let's do it. So real quick, just a real quick backstory. So I'm always on Facebook Marketplace, always looking for good deals. And I came across this Jeep Commander, and it said that it had cylinders 3 and 5 misfire. So I messaged the guy, he said, oh yeah, I've been driving it. He bought it and he was gonna use it all winter. I've been driving it and it's been driving great. And all of a sudden I got really close to home, and it's like it just, 2 dead cylinders. It just started missing really, really bad. And he said the codes were cylinder 3 and cylinder 5. This car, in the conditions and with the miles, it has 167,000 miles on it. It's 4-wheel drive, has leather, has a sunroof, it's got every option but GPS for back in 2008. It's worth close to $7,000 in the condition it's in. I paid $1,600 for it. He wanted 2, I got him down to $1,600, and he delivered it. So that means he wanted out from underneath it, which told me that there had to be something else going on with it, or he knew something, which is fine. My wife's Jeep Grand Cherokee, I did a whole series on that. We completely took that engine out, completely put a new engine in and rebuilt the engine that we got from a bare block all the way up. We rebuilt that engine, and that thing's still running strong, but I wanted to get her in something a little bit newer, less miles, and she likes us a lot better because it has a remote start and it's leather, heated seats. I mean, it's everything. So I bought the car for $1,600, and if I can get away with only putting about $1,000 into it and be about $2,600 into it, I'm still out way ahead. And then the plan is just to try to sell her black Jeep Grand Cherokee, and let's just hopefully that works out for the best. But this car is in really good shape. It has a few nicks and scratches here and there, has a few things here and there that I know I'm gonna have to fix in the future. But for right now, the most important thing to me is to get this engine running good and see what's going on. Because I noticed once it got here that when I took the radiator cap off, there's stopped leaking the radiator. Now, whether is that because maybe it had a blown head gasket, a heater core leaking, what, I don't know. So that's kind of the gamble I'm taking. If I put a heater core in it, I guess I'm gonna put a heater core in it too. I really don't want to pull the dash to do that, but I guess if I do that, I'll make a video. Let me show you guys what it looks like. It's up on the quick jacks right now. Like I said, I wasn't planning on making a video, and what really sucks is my 1-ton engine hoist wouldn't fit underneath of it. It wasn't long enough, the boom, so I had to go to Harbor Freight and buy a 2-ton, so now that one is for sale. I'm gonna try to sell it. But anyways, so here it is. Like I said, it's in really good shape. It's gonna need a major paint correction, and I can probably show you guys without even putting my paint light on it, because I was looking at this. Silver is hard to see, but there's tons of swirls in it. But it's nice. It's got Husky liners in it. The leather is like nobody's ever even sat in it. The back, it's really, really clean. And what I figured was, I'm gonna show you guys, there's not a lot of room in these, and this engine sits really far back. And to get this head off, I gotta take the timing cover off the front, and then I gotta take the oil pan off. Well, that's kind of a pain in the butt being 4-wheel drive. And I figured, why go through all that when I can just pull the engine real quick? So that's what we're gonna do. And I've got it to the point, it's actually only cylinder 5, Cylinder 1 and cylinder 3 have good compression. I took the valve cover off. Rocker arm had fallen off, and that's because the valve had dropped down and stuck. So we just got to see what we got to do there. May have to end up buying a head for that side, I don't know. But I figured, why not? These 3.7s have issues. Pull the heads, pull the engine. We're going to pull both heads, put new head gaskets on it, and basically just go from there. The few things it does have wrong with it is like the paint's chipped right here. You got to remember, this is just what we drive back and forth to work. April does. Headlights look really good, which is really good, which is really nice, I guess I should say. I'll show you the inside. The carpet was wet. I'll show you why. So I have this up, but everything else in here is really good. This is just the trim. I mean, it's in really, really good shape. It's got the sunroof, and it's got the rear glass right there. But the reason why, I think, I don't know yet until we put water on it, this windshield's been replaced, and I could see a water trail inside where it's coming down out of the window. It's either that or this seal right here. I'm not sure. But that's neither here nor there. We'll figure that out. What I figured is, worst case scenario, I can get my money back out of this once I get it running. I mean, it's not a big deal. So that's why I took the gamble and just went with it. I'll show you guys this side. I mean, it's in really good shape. Other than it needs full paint correction. So we took the hood off of it, and we're going to pull the engine, get it up on the engine stand, and start tearing it down and see what's going on with it. So I know this is a long video, guys, way longer than my normal. I usually try to keep videos under 25 minutes. So there's gonna be quite a bit of time lapse in this video to try to keep it as short as I possibly can. I mean, I know this isn't gonna be up a lot of your guys' alleys, I get that, but I thought this would be a cool video to record me doing this engine. Basically kind of rebuilding the top half, getting 2 new heads for it, which you guys will see. So I had 3 hours of video I was able to condense down to 47 minutes. So that's the best I could possibly do, because I wanted to make sure I showed everything that I wanted to show. The other thing I want to say is I want to give a big shout out, a big thank you to somebody that may be watching this video. I don't know if he watches my videos or not, but Dan. Dan took a chance on me 16 years ago, and I needed a job, and he said, if you're willing to learn, I will teach you how to work on cars. You don't even need your own tools. You can use mine. And for 8 years, I did that with him at his shop. And because of him, I have the awesome career that I do have. Now I was there for 8 years. The shop I'm at now, I've been at for 9 years. And I just truly appreciate all the knowledge that he gave me and the confidence he gave me to work on cars. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing stuff like this. So once again, Dan, if you're watching, I really want to say thank you so much. All right, you guys, so as you can see, the engine is out. Show you the big hole that it was in. First time pulling an engine, isn't it? Mm-hmm. How'd you do? Good. You did a good job. You did a very good job. There you go. Here's the torque converter. We'll just leave that right where it's at. We're going to leave the jack. We're going to leave that jack underneath the transmission to support the transmission, because obviously there's no support on the front of it now. We were held up there for a second. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And this got stuck between one of the valve cover bolts. Yeah, it is out. It's an absolute mess on my floor, but... I'm gonna show you guys so you can see where oil has actually been coming down this flywheel. You can see it to dry up here. This is the rear main oil seal right here. It to dry up here, but as you come down to the bottom part of the rear main oil seal is leaking. I noticed it when I took the cover off. All right, I'll hold it. You grab it. Okay. There you go. Okay, that's good. Now it's gonna grab the head of it. Grab the head, and then kind of as it comes out, hold on tight to it, pull it this way so it doesn't get all over your hands. It's about there. There you go. There you go, nice and easy. Go ahead and take the top on it. Okay, put the screwdriver in right here. Hold on to the housing with the other hand and just easily, there you go. Now what you're gonna do, we need to get this thermostat out. So you're just gonna get there and just pop it and hold on to the front of it. There's gonna be, might be coolant behind it. Get right behind it, twist the screwdriver a little bit. There you go, it's coming. There you go. There's coolant behind it. Yep, there you go, pull. All right, you guys, so we actually haven't touched this since Sunday. This is Thursday. We're not in any hurry. This is winter, and it's just a project that we're trying to get done. Sunday's last time we touched, and we've had a lot going on this week. So tonight, this is a school night. This is Thursday night, so I don't want to get too crazy, I don't think. But tonight, I want to get the oil pan off. I want to get the harmonic balancer off. I want to get the timing cover off. Obviously, this valve cover. Make sure it's in time. And at that point, I'm going to see what time it is. And if we've got enough time, we might go ahead and get the timing chains off and at least get the left head off, this head over here, just to see if I can figure out what kind of damage we got and if I'm gonna have to buy a new head, if the block's done, whatever. I'd like to know that tonight, but if not, we'll know it by this weekend. Because I'm gonna have Junior help me with this. He loves doing stuff like this. First time ever tearing an engine down, I can help him, show him how to do it, and he's learning something at the same time. He's not gonna be a mechanic, right? No mechanic. Okay. He's too smart to be a mechanic. He's gonna be something big one day. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pop each one of these free by hand first. Okay, that's ready to go. Okay, that's good. Go to the next one in the middle, right here. Always start from the inside and work, or from the middle and work your way out in a circle. Make sure you're on it. Okay, that's good. As long as it turns, that's good. Go to the next one. Now here's a very important part of this video, and I've already put it in time because I had this cover off. So what I wanted to do is I want to make sure this is in time. So you want to make sure this is in time, the chains. What you want to do is you need to line up with this TDC. It's hard to show on camera. Right here, it needs to be cleaned up. That little arrow needs to line up with this little dash right there. Hang on, let's see if I can show you guys. Yeah, right there, that little mark. That needs to line up right there, so you know that number one cylinder is at top dead center, means it's all the way up. And then right here on your cam sprockets, the V6 needs to point straight up with the head, point straight up. And then your R and your L, which is left and right, needs to be here. And this is where your time mark is for the left side, which is right here. But the sprocket works on the other side also, they're the same sprockets. And this is where your timing mark is for here. But the V6 is up. In my R and L, I can read them straight across like this, so I know that that's in time. So we know we're good there, so we can start taking it apart the rest of the way. So on these Chrysler engines, to get the harmonic balancer off, you have to have a special tool that has these teeth on it. And then these little, I don't know what you want to call these rods, I guess, that go inside the crankshaft, so it pushes against this rod and pulls the pulley off. So I showed you guys the rear main oil seal was leaking. The front crank seal is also leaking. As you can see, this is the crank seal right here. But we're getting all new gaskets and stuff when we do this, so that's no big deal at all. All right, so now we are to the heart of it right here. So what I want this at the 12 o'clock position. This is my timing mark. This is the main sprocket that's for the camshafts. And it's going to be your oil pump. I'm sorry, your oil pump is on the crank on this one. It's going to be the balance shaft. And this one should be at 6 o'clock, I believe. I'm trying to remember from the first, yep, right there. See that there's a little dot right there. 6 o'clock, and then we know that these are still good. So at this point, we can start taking these out. The guides actually look pretty good. Normally you'd see a lot of wear. There's not a lot of wear on these guides. So that's a good thing. I know that I'm not doing this exactly how you should. Being that I'm doing a tear down and I'm replacing all this stuff, it really doesn't matter to me how I get this apart. But right now everything's kind of fighting me. This sprocket is stuck on. So I'm trying to get everything off, and I'm just gonna pull it off as one. Main chain, This is your main sprocket. Carries both your chains on it. This is going to be what for your balance shaft right here. So we got to take these bolts out right here. These are the main head bolts. But on this head, you have two, I think those are 10s, right here on top. And then you have two in here. There's one right there my light's pointing on. And the other one is right down there that my light is pointing on. So I'm gonna let Junior take these 10 millimeters out first. On cylinder heads, you want to take them out inside and work your way out. And when you're taking them off, I like to take them off by hand to snap them free because they are tight. And then I'll come back with an impact to take them off the rest of the way. But I just realized I don't have a 15 deep at home. So I'm hoping I can make, yeah, this will work. These are tight. One, always take them out by hand first to loosen them, just to break them free. Okay, so now we have all the head bolts out. We need to take a mallet and we're gonna smack it. That orange mallet's fine. Let me give you this before I step on it. Just set that down over there. This is where we're gonna find out. This is the moment of truth. If I'm gonna need an engine, a cylinder head, or if this is fixable. Okay, it's ready to come off. Here we go. Moment of truth. The piston don't have any damage, so that's big right there to me. As you can see, it doesn't appear that it hit the piston. The cylinder walls look good. So, this is the way it should look. All the valves are closed. See that valve right there? And that valve right there. Now if you notice this one, it's sitting out. That is the valve seat. It dropped the seat of the valve. So the cylinder head's gonna have to be rebuilt and a new seat put in. But that's awesome because a lot of times when it drops valve seats, it'll actually beat the snot out of the side of the, this is the combustion chamber of the head. And it didn't do that, so that's huge to me, you guys, really, really big. I'm really, really happy about that, so now it's time to send it off and get it repaired. All right, you guys, so I have two new heads. Well, actually, they were remanufactured heads, got brand new valves. This one looks like it's got a brand new cam on it. But to get the new heads ready to go, and then the block's all cleaned up, ready to receive the heads, and I'll show you guys the parts. Not going to go over all of them, but it's the timing chain kit, the spark plugs and thermostat, front and rear seals, exhaust gaskets, intake gaskets, head gaskets, oil pan gasket, valve cover gaskets, water pump, oil pump and pickup, head bolts, and yeah, this is what it takes to put an engine back together, you guys, in case you don't know. So. Oh, they're pretty good. Yeah, it's recording. So I don't recommend using an extension when using a torque wrench, but my 1/2-inch torque wrench does not go to 20 foot-pounds, which is what the first round of torquing is on bolts 1 through 8, which are the big bolts. And so I had to use my 3/8 with an extension, which is no big deal. And then you go over them again, check them again at 20 foot-pounds apiece. And then after that, you're going to tighten the small bolts at 10 millimeters to 120 inch-pounds. And then you're going to go 90 degrees on the big bolts. That's what I'm setting up here. That's an angle gauge, angle meter, whatever you want to call it. It's a manual gauge. And I'm going 90 degrees, and then I'll take it and I'll put on another bolt and go another 90 degrees. Once you're done with all 8 of those big bolts, you go back and do them another additional 90 degrees. And then you're done with the big bolts, and you have to go to the small 10 millimeters. You're going to tighten those to 19 foot-pounds a piece. So I didn't want to show the whole thing. The video is long enough as it is. All right, this head is done. All right, so next step is we need to put the oil pump on because it goes behind the crankshaft, pulley and everything, so, and behind the chain. So what you want to do is you want to fill up your oil pump full of some type of grease. I use white lithium grease, because if you don't, it's not gonna pull the oil up out of the oil pan. A brand new pump won't. So we're just going to squeeze this directly. Try to get you guys in view. There's no way to do this. We're just gonna fill this sucker up. Kind of like that. Then I'm gonna come around to this side, do the same thing. That'd be enough, won't it? Wouldn't you say?
It'll work till it won't.
Don't say that, Todd. Say, yeah, that's plenty.
That's plenty, Brian.
You can only put it on one way because you have flats here and you have flats on your crankshaft. So just rotate it around until you get your flats lined up. And don't look like a dummy. Just like that. It's gonna go like that right there. And this grease isn't gonna hurt anything. And this one bolt's gonna hold on for now because the chain tensioner for the main chain will be the other bolt. And I mark my bolts once I torque them. All right, so we need to put the main guide on, which is this piece right here. You see these orange marks right there? Those two need to straddle this orange mark right here when I put it on. This is the balance shaft. Let me turn this really quick. That's the balance shaft. So, and I did put some assembly lube on here. All you're gonna do is you're gonna push this on and you wanna make sure that it straddles. So as you can see right there, 3 lines all line up. So I know I'm good there. So now I need to put this bolt in. Then we're gonna torque it to 25 foot-pounds. Which is not a lot, but it's a small bolt. That's it. No need to do anything else to it. All right, so I'm not gonna show all this, but we need to put the guides in for the chain. And I've got blue thread locker on the bolts. And these torque to 250 inch-pounds. Torque wrench. Which is 20 foot-pounds, right? Is that what I said? 20.8?
Yep.
Okay. Ooh, that seems awfully tight.
That is scary.
Okay, so that one's on. I will check my diagrams again. Make sure that these are right, because I did take pictures also. And I recommend when you do something like this, always take pictures, because I had it apart for a month and I can't remember where everything was, to be honest with you guys. So, pictures. We all got cell phones. Take a picture of your cell phone.
That's the problem nowadays.
Yeah, no.
Everybody takes pictures of everything. They don't want to use it for good. Use it for easy.
Oh gosh, that's so scary. I'm afraid I'll break it.
Yeah.
And that's it. I gotta put the other two on. So we've already put the right side chain on. We're gonna go ahead and put the left side chain on. Now the chain has 2 dark links right here, as you can see, right there and right there. And then on the other side of the chain, you have a single. Well, the 2 doubles need to wrap around the timing mark right here, which I'll show you guys in a minute. And then the single one needs to match this timing mark right here. We left one guide off, hopefully by doing that, oh crap, that you don't mess up like that. There we go. So I always put it on here first. Hold that right there, Todd. Give me just a little bit of slack. Okay, so we're gonna put that dark link right there. Okay, go ahead and pull. Okay, so we know we're good right there. And then we're gonna have to take this one up here, sometimes you have to take the sprocket off. I'm hoping I don't have to. The other side I didn't have to. There we go. And right there, let me show you guys. So the dark colored link, those two are straddling that mark right there. And then dark color link right here is right over that mark. Same thing with this one back here, but you can't see it now that I put the chain in the way. So, but it is lined up right now. So all I gotta do is install my guide, install my tensioner, and then I'll turn the camera back on. All right, so last but not least, I've got the timing chain, the main chain tensioner mounted. If you guys notice, I mark every bolt that I torque so I don't forget. And that way I know that I've torqued them. I've still got to torque these, but I'm not going to do that until I'm completely attached. Because my tensioners have not been engaged yet. I've not pulled the grenade pins yet. That won't be until I know everything is lined up, and then I'll pull all three at the same time. Now, the main chain is smaller than the other two, obviously. It's much smaller. You've got a double link and you got a single link. The double link goes at the top. Oop, almost showed you guys wrong. Double link goes at the top, double colored link, and then your single color link will go at the bottom. Like that. This is the hard part, is lining this up, because you have a master spline up here. The last one of these I fought, which was Mrs. Fab's Jeep that she's driving now. Let's see, I can't tell where I'm at. May have to turn the crank just a little bit, maybe. Let's see. Like I said, this is the absolute worst part of the whole job right here, just lining this thing up. Dang, it looks like it's dead on.
Stick your tongue out.
I should. Cross my toes. Okay, I am just barely off. So I need this crank to come this way. Just slightly. Let me get my crank bolt. I can't. I don't.
On the washer you could.
All right, guys. Let me turn the camera off because this may take a few. All right, you guys. So I was actually wrong earlier on the color of the links. So the double links actually go in here. As you can see, there's two dark links in there. This one's harder to see because the front chain's in front of it. And then the single links go up here. So I do have to let you guys know I did make a mistake on that. And once I realized it, I had to take it back apart and put it all back together. So I'm getting ready to spin it over for the first time. Now these tensioners are oil fed, and there's obviously no oil pressure in it. So I'm gonna take it easy in case they kind of come out of whack. I'm just gonna spin it over, and I don't want any resistance. Okay, everything looks good. We go 2 turns on the crankshaft for 1 turn on the camshaft. I just want to make sure. Now see, this needs to come up. Keep tension on it. There's just no oil pressure right now. Now my marks will not be the same now, but what I want to see, this thing kind of spun on me. What I want to see is this at the 12 o'clock position, which it is. This at the 6 o'clock position, which it is. These be straight, which they are. And this one needs to be straight, and it is. And then I want to make sure I've got good tension on my chains, which I do. And that's it, chains are done. Now I can move on to the rest of the build. All right, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to install the camshaft position sensor. This also has a crankshaft position sensor, which goes right here, but the cam is going to go on the head. And that's what these marks right here are for. This is actually the tone wheel. This is what picks up the camshaft sensor. The camshaft sensor senses these and it basically knows that the camshaft is moving. Always use factory, especially if you're doing Mopar. So for the 3.7, this is the part number for a 3.7 camshaft position sensor. Yes, it says made in China, but it is a Mopar part. It's unfortunate. But yeah, they're pretty easy to do. The crankshaft sensor though, if you ever do one on one of these, they do get stuck. And they can be an absolute nightmare to get out. Luckily I had the engine out, so it didn't really bother me. So you gotta make sure you lube up the O-ring, which is what I just did. And we're just gonna stick this in here until it kind of clicks. Kind of work it around like that. Don't force it in there because you'll rip your O-ring. You know what happens when you rip your O-ring?
You have kids.
No. You better be on a toilet when you rip your O-ring.
Oh, that ring.
Yeah, that ring. Never a dull moment, guys. We're me and Todd are together. Okay, and I put some medium strength Loctite on there. You don't want to go overkill on that. You don't have a torque spec. Just get it tight. I always call it Loctite. It's actually it's on the bench already. It's right behind that Lucas bottle I just put in there. That's good. Go ahead and start these nuts on. Whew, that's pretty tight. Shouldn't go nowhere. Go. Go, 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 go. Tight. Okay, pull back. A bit more. Go the rest of the way. There you go. That's it. You felt it vibrate and it beeps. Okay. But it's not. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to start these back bolts first. We're going to try the brand new Ryobi 3/8 or electric ratchet. We're not going tight with them. I just want to take them in before we torque them. Crisscross pattern. That works pretty good. All right, so now we're gonna put one of the exhaust manifolds on. I like to use a high temperature silicone on these. Just peace of mind more than anything else. It will squeeze out once we put the manifolds on. Okay, these bolts torque to 18 foot-pounds. I like to give myself a little bit of a guide when I'm sitting manifolds on. And I always recommend using brand new bolts, and these things are not cheap from the dealer. Dorman does make them. Okay, we're gonna go down nice and easy with the Ryobi, by the way, Ryobi, so everybody can diss me in my video. Use Ryobi tools, man. You like that impersonation, Junior? Sure. It's Ryobi, man, come on. 18.2. You notice, you guys, we watch the lights on here. They start out yellow. Right there. And as you go, they get more and more. In case you're under your torque wrench and you can't see if you're under your torque wrench and you can't see your screen, you can still see the lights. All right, guys, we're gonna do the valve covers now. And don't put any silicone on your gasket. And start all your bolts before you start torquing down. And these are torqued to 105 inch-pounds. Junior's gonna do it. Make sure your gasket is in the grooves and that you can see it. If you roll a gasket, which I was just telling Junior, which I've done, I rolled a gasket on a Lexus one time on the back valve cover. You can't see them on those cars. I rolled the gasket and it dumped all the oil all over my garage. It was really bad. These bolts are very small threads. Nice and easy, don't pull hard. Okay, you're gonna start feeling it. Okay. Go to the next one. See how they're smashing out, guys? Easy. Okay. And that's it. We gotta do that to the rest of the bolts and the valve covers will be on. All right, so now we're on to the timing cover. I went ahead and put the silicone on here. Junior's gonna guide me around with the bolts so I know right where everything needs to go. I know where the first bolt goes. But the water pump is also part of the timing cover bolts. So what I gotta do first is I gotta get, can you start this bolt? Okay. There we go. Okay, I'm not gonna go in a sequence just yet. Put this on low. So this is the last one on the cover. I really wish I wouldn't have painted this cover. It looks terrible, but. Okay, and then the water pump bolts are all 43 also. All right, so we're going to put the rear main oil seal in. I got the oil seal, the old oil seal out. This is the part that is not very fun in my opinion, because you gotta be able to stretch this around without knocking your spring out. Okay, like that right there. Oh. PVC pipe. So I need to get the top going in little by little until my seal is all the way back, and you want it flush with the end, the back of the engine. Right here, just a tad again. Okay, rear main oil seal is in. Now we gotta put the flywheel on. All right, you guys, so my battery may die. So on your flywheel, make sure you pay attention to your marks. So this is where the torque converter bolted up to it before. You do not want to put it on backwards because you can. So this is where you want to face the transmission. This cover I marked, even though I shouldn't have to. This is where the starter goes. It's going to sit right here, but it's got to go on when the flywheel goes on. It's going to kind of just sit back there. Hold that up. Okay, and your flywheel will only bolt up one way. Just turn it over until you find the right pattern. And make sure you use Loctite on your bolts. What the heck? There it is, right there. Make sure you use blue Loctite, a medium compound Loctite, whatever they call those things. And this is 70 foot-pounds, and I'm gonna have Junior hold the crankshaft here in just a second as I do it. This is just like a wheel. You're gonna go star pattern. Okay, ready to torque it? Okay, there's one. Two. And now, since you do put Loctite in there, once that stuff cures, the thread locker, it'll be fine, but I do want to make sure. Now I'm not gonna go a certain pattern this time. I'm gonna start here and just go all the way around. Ready? Hey, that's it. It's ready to go in the car. All right, you guys, so I have the engine in. I didn't feel like I needed to show you guys me doing that. We did kind of fight it a little bit, being in the garage, not having a lift. We're up and down constantly, warming out, but so what I want to do now that I've got it in there and I've got the starter on, I've got my crank sensor, cam sensor, everything hooked up underneath, my ground underneath hooked up. First thing I want to do is go ahead and put oil in it and a filter, obviously, and then I want to check for oil pressure. So I've got an oil pressure gauge. We're going to check for oil pressure just to make sure we got good oil pressure before I go and put this together the rest of the way. Now I use AMS-oil normally, but being that I've put new heads on this, I want to run it for about 500 miles and then drain it out. So I don't want to use my expensive AMS-oil to do that. So I got Amazon Basics 5W20 full synthetic motor oil. The reason I decided to go with this, for one, is cheap. Two, if you guys have ever watched Project Farm, he did a whole series on motor oils, and he put all the top motor oils against each other. And Amazon Basics was one of the best, believe it or not. AMSOIL ended up being #1. I think Royal Purple ended up being #2. Mobil 1 was way down the list. Amazon Basics finished ahead of Mobil 1. So this would be perfectly fine for a good 500 miles. But what I want to do, fill the oil filter up first, as much as I can get in it. As you can see how clear that is. I'm sure this is probably made by Valvoline, because only Valvoline oil is typically that clear. Hopefully I'm within frame. And always put oil on your gasket, your seal. But I want to get as much oil in there as I can get in there. And remember, I put grease inside the oil pump, so it'll create the vacuum to hopefully pump the oil. Because I don't want to start an engine with no oil pressure, one. And two, the timing chain tensioners are oil fed. They need to have oil in them before you start the motor. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble if you don't. Once your oil filter touches, quarter, half turn, that's all it needs. All right, I'm gonna put the rest inside the motor. All right, you guys, so I have two things going on here. I've got my oil pressure gauge hooked up, and then I've also got my compression gauge hooked up. I do have a ground kind of just sitting on over here so it'll crank. But what I want to do, I want to make sure I got compression first, because it's going to take a minute to get my oil pressure. So I'm going to watch the compression gauge, and if it looks okay, I'll have her stop cranking, and then I'll take the compression gauge off, and then we're going to crank it for the oil pressure. So, okay, go ahead and crank it, and I'll tell you when to shut it off. We may have shut off immediately. I'm going to watch where the dipstick goes and the fuel, and it shouldn't. I took the fuse out for that, so go ahead and crank it. Okay, stop. It's got great compression, so that's awesome. Okay, hey, keep cranking it. Oil pressure's coming up. Okay, stop. Okay, we got good oil pressure. All right, you guys, so it's the moment of truth. It's all the way back together, except I don't have the fan in because I'm replacing the radiator. Once I know that this thing runs good, so there's no coolant in it. We're not gonna let it run long, but I'm gonna let it run long enough to make sure it seems like it's firing on all 6 cylinders. Make sure I don't have any oil leaks, and then shut it off, and then put a radiator in it, and that'll be the next part of the video, which you guys will see after this. But all right, this is the moment of truth for me and Junior. We're gonna see if this thing will run. So April, go ahead and start it. Okay, look at that. I'm surprised it had fuel pressure. Seems like it's running good. I don't feel any misfire at all. I hear air somewhere, but okay, shut it off. All right, you guys, so that means me and Junior did a good job rebuilding this engine. Good job. And as you see, it's smoking. That's completely normal. It's from the exhaust manifolds. I'm gonna shut the camera off now because I gotta wait until I get a new radiator for this. And I'll put a radiator in it, and then you guys will see it when it's done. All right, you guys, so we are done finally. It's been about a week since we've had it done. Got the fan shroud on. We got the brand new radiator in there, right there, behind the fan. New overflow tank, all new coolant. I've run it to temperature several times, and I've had no issues with it. It holds temperature great. Thermostat opens when it should. I got great heat. The heater core is not leaking, which was my main concern when I did this. So I'm really happy with it. All right, you guys, so we are completely done. I got Junior here with me because I figured he should be at the end of this video with me because he was a big help in putting this engine together. I know that was a long video, way longer than my usual, but I think it was a great video for me to just capture of me doing it with Junior, and just the whole process of just for history, really, something I can always look back on in the future. But I want to ask Junior a few questions about it because I do this every day, but he doesn't do this every day. What did you think about taking the engine out, rebuilding stuff like that? Was it harder than you thought? Was it easier than you thought? What'd you think?
It was fun. I liked it, yeah.
You did like it?
Yeah.
And would you ever want to do it again?
Yeah, I would.
Should we get like another project car or something?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That sounds like a good idea right there, you guys. So yeah, guys, I'm hoping one day he is not a mechanic. Hopefully he's way better than his dad because he's very, very smart. But he enjoyed doing it. He used to love doing Legos. I think you still do, don't you, really, for the most part. And he used to get these huge Legos. I mean, what's the biggest one you've done?
Almost 2,000 pieces.
Almost 2,000 pieces. It took you like 4 hours, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was like 4 hours and he had this thing done. It was 2,000 pieces. And he used to take them, put them together, take them back apart just to put them back together. So I was like, you know, maybe he'd like to do some engine work. So I got him out here to do some engine work, which was awesome. I don't know if you guys can see behind us, but there's plastic on here. That's because I've already started the detail process on this Jeep, you guys, and it is looking awesome. So look forward to those videos right there. Now I will tell you, so I spent $1,600 on the Jeep. I've got, let's see, I got 1,300 in parts, I think, right around there, 12 to 1,300. So we'll just say 2,900 is what I got into this Jeep. But the thing is, Mrs. Fab, she doesn't want to get rid of her black one, I don't think. And she's almost on the fence of possibly selling this one now that we got it running, because she's like, I love my black Jeep. So I don't know what the plan is, if we're going to keep this or not. But regardless, we had a fun time doing it, and if I got to sell it, I'll just sell it, make some money, and maybe buy another car for a project video. So if you guys like this video, let me know down in the comment section. If this type of video you like to see in the future, let me know, and because this is something I'm thinking about maybe doing more often at home, because we really enjoyed doing it, didn't we? Yeah. It was fun. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining in. If you liked the video, please smash that thumbs up for the both of us. And then when you're down there hitting that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, join the Fab family. We'd love to have you, and we'll see you in the next video.